Students, in the previous lecture, we have learnt electric field due to uniformly charged ring. This one it is discussed in the previous session. And even we have learnt at the center electric field is 0. And even we have learnt that from the center, if you move outward up to certain distance, field increases, and beyond that field will be decreased. Okay. Now let us learn till where field value goes on increases until where from where it goes on decreases. So now let me consider that up to certain distance field is increasing, and when the field is about to decrease, when it starts to decrease, at that particular point you can write dE divided by dx is equal to 0. Is it not? That means slope at that particular point, slope tends to become 0. This gives you d by dx of E is nothing but k q x divided by x square plus a square whole power 3 by 2. This total should be equated to 0. Because E is the field at the center, that field value I am substituting here. As we are going on outward from the center, field will be increased up to certain value. And when it is about to decrease, at that point slope should tend to be 0. Like for example, if field value goes on increases up to certain value, at this particular point dE divided by dx should be equal to 0, and then it goes on decreases. So slope at the maximum point is 0, therefore dE by dx should be equal to 0. Now all constant terms you can bring it out. That gives you, if I take all constant term outward, this gives you k q into d by dx of x divided by x square plus a square whole power 3 by 2 is equal to 0. Right? K and q is however constant. What is left over here? Remained term is only d by dx of x divided by x square plus a square whole power 3 by 2 is equal to 0. Right? Now you should evaluate this differentiation term. Evaluating we get, I am not deriving that directly, I am writing the value of x. Evaluating we get x is equal to a divided by root 2 plus or minus. Right? Now that means when x is equal to a by root 2, till that particular value field goes on increases. Beyond that particular limit field will be decreased. Right? So this is very important conclusion you should remember. So from the center, if you are going on outward till x is equal to a by root 2, field value increases, and beyond that value field goes on decreases, and that can be seen in the graph like this. This is the graph which you can see it. Just hold on for a second. Now see, in this graph I will explain it clearly. As I told you, at the center field is equal to 0. At center field is equal to 0. At the center x is equal to 0, therefore field is equal to 0. Field is equal to 0. Now from the center, see in this graph, from this center, what you are doing? You are going outward. So when you are traveling it outward, this length is x, let me take it as. When you are traveling outward up to certain value, what is happening to the field? Field value goes on increases. So this is the point where dE divided by dx is equal to 0. Now where you are obtaining that point? When x is equal to plus a by root 2, you are getting that particular point. So at x is equal to plus a by root 2, E is equal to maximum. E is equal to maximum. So that means dE by dx is equal to 0. Beyond that, beyond x is equal to plus a by root 2, E decreases. E goes on decreases. From here, see, you can see that E is decreasing. Now, as x tend to infinity, when x is tending to infinity, denominator we have x infinity and numerator also we have infinity. So therefore, nearly, that means when you are going out from the center of the circle to a large distance, obviously E is also becoming equal to 0, right? So this is very important conclusion, and it is right side. Coming towards the left side of the ring from the center, if you are coming left side, what would happen? Field value will be decreased. So therefore, here it is positive field, but coming to left side, field is negative, right? That is the reason why you are getting graph in the third quadrant. This is first quadrant, it is second quadrant, this is third quadrant, and this is fourth quadrant. You are getting graph in the third quadrant because field is negative when you are going left side to that of the ring. So up to a value where x is equal to minus a by root 2, up to that particular point, field goes on increases. Beyond that, field will be decreased. And if you go to infinite region, field will be 0, right? So this is graph E versus X graph. And this is a very, very important graph. Many time in entrance examinations, this graph is being asked directly. So you should pay attention towards this graph, and conclusions are also very important. Center of the ring, field is equal to 0. From the center, if you go outward up to certain distance, say x is equal to a by root 2, field increases, and beyond that value of x, field goes on decreases, and at infinite position, field tend to become 0. Now, for example, let me tell you one simple example. Say you have radius of the ring A is equal to, you have radius of the ring A is equal to 10 root 2 meter. Radius of this ring is 10 root 2 meter. Now at center E is equal to 0. At center E is equal to 0, however. Now when you will be getting maximum field at x is equal to a divided by root 2. That means a, it is 10 root 2 divided by root 2. Root 2 gets cancelled. This is equal to 10 meter. So that means from the center, if you are going a distance of 10 meter, till that value, field goes on increases. Beyond 10 meter, field decreases. Field decreases. 10 may become 11, 12, 100, 200, 300, like it may be tending to kilometers. Then in such cases, field value will be again tending to 0. Right? This is very, very important conclusion which we are learning from electric field due to a ring. Students, in past few sessions, we have learnt about electric field due to a rod, electric field due to a ring, electric field due to a circular arc. 3 concepts we have learnt. Now coming to the new, it is electric field due to uniformly charged circular disc and plate. First we will learn about circular disc, and then we will apply the same concept to the plate. You will be deriving 2 equations. Okay. Now when you are dealing with disc, understand carefully, a disc is nothing but it is extended area. And this particular disc, like this is disc. This disc has radius r. Disc is having radius r, and this total is filled with material. This total is filled with material. You have circular disc. that is completely filled with material. So therefore, here you need to take surface charge density, and this is surface distribution. And in case of surface distribution, we will be using sigma, which is equal to total charge capital Q divided by what is its area of cross section, A. As it is disk area will be equal to Q divided by pi r square, right? This is equation number 1. I'll explain the procedure and derivation part directly. I have took it here in the slide. I'll explain the procedure. You try to work out that in your classwork. Now, out of this total disk, what I am doing is, however, this is extended body. What you should do, you should take very small element. If you take very small element over here, what you could see is, now in this disk, I am taking very small element, right? Now, when you are taking very small element in this ring, this is the element which I have chosen. If you cut that disk into very small portion, what do you get? You will be getting it as a ring, right? This is a ring. Is it not? When you are cutting a disk into very small element, that element is nothing but a ring. Okay. Because of this ring, it will be having some field dE, and this ring has charge dQ, and this ring has area which is equal to length into breadth, right? Because we are dealing with surface charge density. For surface charge density, remember that you should take area. Therefore, what I do for sigma, instead of sigma, I'll write it here separately. Understand carefully how I am writing that sigma. Sigma is equal to, what is the charge on this ring? dQ divided by, you need to find out the area of this ring. Area of ring. Now this is equal to dQ divided by, area of the ring is nothing but total length. What is length of this ring? Length of the ring is 2 pi r. 2 pi r dash. Here in this case, radius is r dash. So this is 2 pi r dash, that is length. This total become L. And what about width of this ring? Width of the ring is dr dash. So that becomes dr dash. Okay. So therefore, how do you write dq? dq is equal to sigma into 2 pi r dash into dr dash. Okay. What is sigma? You can substitute that sigma from this equation. dq is equal to capital Q divided by pi r square into 2 pi r dash into dr dash. Let me take this as equation number 2. Right? Now, because of this very small ring, I need to find out field at this position. Right? At this point, you are writing the field value. But we already calculated electric field due to a ring. What is its value? Electric field due to ring, that is dE, is equal to K into, what is its charge? Charge is dQ divided by dQ. And what about separation? Separation here is Z divided by radius is r dash plus separation, it is Z r dash square into Z square whole power 3 by 2. This is the equation which we have derived in the previous article. Electric field due to ring. What is electric field due to ring? K Q X by r square plus x square whole power 3 by 2. Same concept we are applying for this particular ring, very small ring, which is at a distance Z. You are finding field from the center of this ring element, which is at a distance Z. So what you will do? Simply you will write K, charge of the ring, dQ. And from the center, what is the separation of this point? Z divided by radius of this ring, r dash, plus separation of this point, it is z, r dash square plus z square whole power 3 by 2. And what about this dq? Dq is already derived in equation 2. You can substitute that over here. This is equal to k into z into dq. Dq is capital Q divided by this pi, and this pi I am cancelling. And what about left over here? That is 2. I am writing it here. 2 divided by r square, because r is radius of the whole disk, that is constant, it does not change. I am bringing it out, r dash. And what about leftover? R dash into dr dash divided by r dash plus z square, r dash square z square whole power 3 by 2. Okay, now in order to find out the field, what you need to do? You need to integrate this total, right? So integrating this equation. So that means all constant terms you are bringing it out. So all constant terms, when you bring it out, it will be 2 pi z k into sigma. What is the sigma? Here q by pi r square, you can represent it with sigma. This sigma mean that it is q by pi r square. So here I am cancelling pi, but if you are not cancelling pi, then this total becomes sigma. Okay, so that sigma as it is written here, and this is 2 pi as it is taken in this equation, 2 pi into z. And from the center, what will be the limits? From the center, limits are up to r, therefore it is limits are from 0 to r, and only variable terms are r dash into dr dash, r dash dr dash divided by z square plus r dash square whole power 3 by 2. You need to integrate this total, right? Integrating this equation, you will be getting this expression, which is final answer for the electric field due to disk. So integrating this is in the same procedure which we have derived for ring. Just take this angle theta. You can take this angle theta, take tan theta. Tan theta is equal to opposite side, it is r dash divided by adjacent side, it is z. This gives you r dash is equal to z into tan theta. And what about dr dash? Dr dash is equal to z into tan theta, can be written as secant square theta d theta. Okay, you can use this concept in order to integrate. So take this terms and substitute over here and integrate that total, just like how we have did in the previous article. So finally you will be getting the expression Ez is equal to k sigma 2 pi whole of 1 minus z divided by under root z square plus r square, right? This is the final expression for electric field due to disk. So students, you are recommended to remember this equation for solving problems directly. Electric field due to disk, it is k sigma 2 pi 1 minus z divided by z square plus r square. This is for disk, right? Now let us take plate. Okay, now we are taking a plate, and this plate is extended up to infinity, like you are taking infinite plate. Right? So when you are dealing with plate, what happened to our radius? As we are considering it as infinite plate, what would happen to radius? Radius tend to infinity, because for example, if you are taking a plate, this is extended up to infinity, this is extended up to infinity, this is extended up to infinity, this is also extended up to infinity. So from the center, if you are calculating radius, what does its value become? Radius tend to become infinity. So that infinite value I'll substitute over in this equation. So what do you get? Ez is equal to k sigma 2 pi into 1 minus z. Z is the point where you are calculating field due to this infinite plate. And what about this r square? In the total term here, we have z square plus infinity whole square, right? Now this is infinity. Something by infinity is 0. This total term becomes 0 over here, right? This total term tend to become 0 because in the denominator we have infinity. Then Ez is equal to k is 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into sigma as it is and 2 pi over here. This 2 pi and 2 gets cancelled. What about this? It is Ez is equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught. This is the final conclusion, which is equation for electric field due to infinitely extended plate. And sigma is nothing but charge by area. You need to substitute that charge by area of that particular plate over here so that you will be getting electric field. And this is like you can even call this as field due to infinite conducting sheet. Infinite conducting sheet on one side of it, one side of the sheet, right? So this is very important conclusion. Electric field due to disk is this equation. Electric field due to infinite sheet, it is a sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So students, one small conclusion from this expression which we have learned, it is from this expression I am writing a conclusion. At the center of the disk, what it is? At the center, z is equal to 0. If you are substituting z is equal to 0 in this particular equation, second term becomes 0. And as the second term is becoming 0, what do you get? Electric field at the center is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught sigma into 2 pi. 2 pi 2 is 4 pi. Therefore, field at the center is a sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Sigma by 2 epsilon naught already we have derived for plate. Therefore, electric field due to disk, electric field due to plate at the center are equal. This is one more important conclusion. Students, in the past few sessions, we have learned linear charge distribution, surface charge distribution. We have calculated electric field due to rod, electric field due to ring. That comes under linear distribution. Similarly, electric field due to plate, electric field due to disk, that comes under surface charge distribution. Two parts are completed. Coming to the third part, it is volume, which we are now considering. It is spherical charge distribution, or even we can call it as volume charge distribution. Right? So in case of volume charge distribution, we will be taking rho. Rho is volume charge distribution or volume charge density. So rho can be written as total charge on the surface divided by volume. Right? This is the part which we are going to use in this spherical charge distribution. So I am considering here sphere, spherical charge distribution. So therefore we need to take only spherical objects, that is the spheres. Only sphere I am considering. You can later using the same procedure, you can even derive for cube and cuboid also. That we will be dealing in Gauss law. That becomes very simple when you use Gauss law. So we will leave that part to the Gauss law. But presently we will be using only spherical, that means spheres. Only for spheres we will be calculating electric field at different positions. Coming to the spherical charge distribution, we have, it is been learnt under two parts: conducting sphere, non-conducting sphere. Right? Conducting sphere. In case of conducting sphere, charge can flow. Charge can flow, and charge resides only on surface. In case of conducting sphere, as charge is able to flow, total charge will be resided only on the surface. Because in case of conductors, there will be free electrons. In case of conductors, there will be free electrons. These free electrons are able to flow. Therefore, total charge is accommodated only on surface. And inside Q is equal to 0. That is for conducting spheres. In case of non-conducting spheres, charge cannot flow. Charge cannot flow in case of non-conducting sphere, and charge reside throughout the material. That means total volume is occupied with charge. Right? So therefore, Q inside, in case of non-conducting sphere, Q inside is not equal to 0. But whereas in case of conducting sphere, Q inside will be equal to 0. These are very important points you need to understand. As conducting sphere, there are free electrons, charge can flow. Therefore, inside there will be no charge. Total charge will be accommodated only on the surface. Whereas non-conducting sphere, as charge could not flow, there will be no free electrons. Therefore, total charge is accommodated throughout the volume of that particular sphere. Okay. Now, in conducting sphere, again, you can have hollow sphere or solid sphere. This is hollow sphere. Nothing, no material inside. This is hollow. Whereas this is solid sphere. Right? Solid sphere mean inside there will be material. Hollow sphere mean inside there will be no material. In case of hollow sphere, if you are considering conducting hollow sphere, this is hollow sphere, right? Total charge is accommodated only on the surface because inside there is no matter. So what is inside? There is no charge. Q will be equal to 0. Charge is accommodated only on surface. And outside there will be field extended. This is E not equal to 0. Now coming to the solid sphere, this is a solid sphere. Coming to the solid sphere, inside there will be matter. There will be matter inside. There will be matter inside. That means it is filled with atoms and nuclei. But whatever the charge which you have, that charge is accommodated only on the surface. Charge is accommodated only on the surface. Right? Now coming to net charge inside, that means Q net inside is equal to 0. That means total positive and negative charges will be compensated. Net charge inside the sphere is equal to 0. Only field will be extended outward. So Q inside is equal to 0. In this case also, Q inside is equal to 0. So for solid sphere or hollow sphere, conducting, if it is conducting material, inside charge will be equal to 0. Therefore, field will be equal to 0. Now coming to non-conducting sphere, we have hollow. In case of non-conducting sphere, this is non-conducting sphere. This is non-conducting hollow sphere. And what about inside? There is no matter. Therefore, Q will be equal to 0. Total charge is accommodated only on the surface, whether it can be positive charge or negative charge. Q inside will be equal to 0. Charge is accommodated only on the surface. So in this case also, Q inside is equal to 0. Coming to the solid sphere. Coming to the solid sphere, as I told you, it is non-conducting. Therefore, total charge is accommodated inside the material and as well as on the surface of the material. Because this charge which is there in this non-conducting material, it remains there as it is. It does not flow. Therefore, Q inside is not equal to 0. Q on surface is also not equal to 0. Right? So here in case of these three materials, Q on surface not equal to 0. Q on surface not equal to 0. Q on surface not equal to 0. But Q inside for these three materials, it is 0. Only in this case, it is unique. Only for non-conducting materials, there will be charge present inside the material also. Therefore, here you will be calculating total volume. But in case of hollow sphere, solid sphere, or hollow sphere in case of conducting or non-conducting, in all these cases, inside it will be 0. Very, very important things which we have learned now. Using these concepts, we will be deriving equations for electric field at the center, on the surface, and outside the surface. See, as first three things which I have told you in the previous slide, they all are equal. That means electric field due to hollow, conducting, and electric field due to hollow, non-conducting, and electric field due to solid, conducting. All these cases, electric field is the same. Whatever we are doing for one thing, that is applicable for all the three. Okay. So electric field for hollow conducting material, hollow non-conducting material, and solid conducting material. All these cases, field value will be remain same. Okay. Now this is solid or hollow, whatever you can. It is like, let me take it as sphere. Okay. For this sphere, charge inside will be equal to 0, right? Now we need to find out field inside the material, right? Now what about field inside? Field inside will be 0 since Q is equal to 0, because we know that E is equal to K Q divided by R square, right? What about Q? Q is equal to 0, therefore field also equal to 0. Therefore total charge which is over here inside the material as it is 0, net field will be equal to 0, right? That is inside. Next, field on the surface. Field on the surface. Now coming to field on the surface, that means at this point you are supposed to calculate field on the surface. Now on the surface, if you are taking this total material from the center, what is the separation of the charge? It is R. What is the charge accommodated on the surface? Capital Q. Therefore, equation for electric field is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. What is field on this total material? It is capital Q divided by. What is the separation from the center? It is capital R square, since capital R is equal to radius. Radius of the sphere. Okay, this is on the surface. Next, coming on outside, field outside sphere. Field we are calculating outside the sphere. When we are calculating field outside the sphere, like for example from the center, you are finding somewhere field at this point. Like let me take at this point P, you are supposed to find out the field. Okay, so at that particular point you are supposed to find out the field. From the center you are finding field outside. This is outside. Okay, so when you are finding field outside, this total sphere you can consider it as point charge because you are out from the sphere, right? So remember, in this case, as we are finding field out of sphere, we can treat sphere as point charge. So when we are like, for example, you are observing moon from the earth surface. Clearly moon appears as very small point from earth. Therefore, even though moon radius is very large, when you are observing it from the outside, you can treat it as a point. That is the concept which we are actually using here. Now coming to this, we know electric field due to point charge. Electric field due to point charge will be equal to K, whatever the total charge it has, it is Q divided by R is a separation, whole square, right? Now let me take this separation as a small r, which is greater than capital R. Therefore, what will be the field value? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught capital Q divided by R square. R is greater than capital R. In this case, here capital R is radius, and in this case, R is greater than R. Okay. Therefore, in case of a conducting or hollow charge distribution, that is a spherical charge distribution, inside field is 0. On the surface, this value is fixed 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square. And outside the sphere, its value is variable with respect to R, right? So now let me write down the conclusion. Here, in case of on surface, field is inversely proportional to R square, right? And in case of outside the sphere, field is inversely proportional to R square, right? And whatever the center, at the center it is 0 because charge residing on the surface is 0. Now coming to graphs. When you are seeing the graph, here within this region, from the center, in this region, there will be no charge. In this region, there will be no charge. Therefore, field is equal to 0 and field is equal to 0 inside the material, right? So this is center, and from the center, this is capital R, right side positive, and this is minus R, left side, and it is negative, and this is origin. So inside this total, it is 0. Now where field is starting? On the surface. So this value, what is its value? It is E, which is Q by 4 pi epsilon naught R square. Now coming outside, what is this total value? We have R, small r, which is greater than capital R. Here also small r greater than capital R. As we could see, as a small r increases, what happens to field outside? It should decrease. It is inversely proportional. So E is inversely proportional to R square. So in this case, E inversely proportional to R square. Therefore, field value goes on decreases. When you are tending to infinity point, what about this? Field again tend to become 0. Therefore, here outside you have field E is equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R square, right? These are the two equations and this is the graph. This is potential. We'll learn that in potential. This is not left. This is not your concept now. Only this is the graph. This is graph you need to understand. So center is 0. Coming outside on the radius, it is non-zero, and coming outside, it decreases. Very, very important conclusion. And this graph is also important. Many times these graphs are asked for entrance examination.